on and then start the
It's not in progress.
turn the video on, Bill.
I thought I did that.
Contact.
You turned me off.
Say I want to pick it.
Okay.
Okay, there we are. Now you just have to point it to the speaker.
Okay. All right, if you would like to go with us. to
Can you
see
hear?
The Norfolk Tide Sunday.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
15th. Let Bill Payne know.
No.
Also let you know. Bill Stram.
Sam's
Okay.
organizing it.
All right, Bill, let Bill Stram know, and then we'll
Did you know that?
organize the carpooling.
Okay, so let me just tell everybody right now.
I'm not going to be here.
You have to go onto the Norfolk Tides baseball website and order tickets. They're $15 a piece. I'd be more than glad to do that based on response to me. Normally, we're gonna have to carpool. There's, like, I can take 4 people, including myself, somebody else, it depends on how many people.
I'll drive too.
So, but I need to know, because I'm gonna pay for them, and so if somebody says they're gonna go, you're on the hook for $15. Okay, not that, well, I had something come up, okay, it's fine, you paid $15. Somebody else will pay. Okay, right?
Question,
So,
do you get a seat assignment?
so, no, I have to get, when you do that, you will get the seats. So if we have 10 people go, I'll get like a 10.
Yeah.
So,
Right, but if you order yourself.
by yourself, you're
gonna be by yourself. You're not
Yeah,
gonna be-
that's right, that's right.
And we want to sit together.
Yeah. When do you want to know by? What's the day you want to order the ticket?
I would
The
like
week
to,
before?
I would like to know sometime next week.
All right.
Let's say by next Tuesday, close the business next Tuesday. That gives plenty of people.
Yep.
Time. So it's 2 o'clock on the 15th. That's Sunday, the 15th.
Right. That sounds good.
I think it's $7 or $8 of that 15 goes to Polio Plus. For those, everybody should have gotten a email from Colleen Bonadonna. And, she had shirts for sale. And matter of fact, she's almost all out of them. She had 100 shirts, so, well, she just got to me today and said, hey, I'll get you one, but I'm almost out of shirts. So if you want a shirt, you can respond to her. She'll get it for you, and you can get it at the gate.
What time again? 2
2
o'clock.
o'clock is the game time. It starts.
Leave here at 11.
Yeah.
Okay, so let Bill Stram know, quick email or quick text, whatever works for you, or call him and just tell him, yeah, I'm in. Bill, I'm in. Okay. All right, Paul, real quick, you want to give us a COVID update?
A whole lot new to report. The number of cases in our county, I look at the totals every Friday.
Thank you.
And the totals in Northampton County actually took a jump. I think we got to 13 cases in Northampton County last week, and it was up from just less than 5, as I recall. And that put the number per capita actually into the medium risk range. But the number in Virginia Beach has been dropping. Only 2 of those cases, by the way, in Northampton County were in Cape Charles. And the number of new hospitalizations for COVID in Northampton and Appomattox counties are still 0 per week. So as they have been for the last few weeks. So according to the CDC, the risk level is still low. In a lot of the areas I look at.
That's excellent. Okay, May 3rd, after the meeting, that's next week, we're gonna have a fireside chat for the newest members. So we're gonna have a pretty good turnout for this. So that would be Ken Roberts, Dolores Blackburn, Betty Bibbins, Chip Miller, Dave Wilcox, Jackie Chapman,
Yay.
Jim Rich, and Joan Natale. So right after the meeting, probably, it'll take less than an hour, probably more like 45 minutes. Next week, we'll go through that. Bill will be flashing up the slides on the TV there. And we'll run through that, and if there's any questions, be happy to answer them for you. So please come plan to stay here. I'm gonna kind of chase everybody out after the meeting next week so we can get started on that. So don't think I'm being ignorant or anything if I ask you to take it outside if you want to have some more conversations. That's all I had on announcements. Does anybody else have anything they want to bring up as an announcement? Okay, well, I'm pleased to tell you that today we have a couple of guest speakers.
Oh,
No, happy dogs.
Happy dollars.
You're right, happy dollar. Who has some happy dollars? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joan.
I have 10 happy dollars, 5 because Roberta had her medical test and everything turned out very well and she doesn't need any surgery. And the other 5 because she left with her husband today to go to California to visit his sister and then their daughter and son-in-law.
Wonderful.
She's really happy so much.
Yeah, that's great.
Next time you talk to her, give her our best wishes, and we're all real happy to hear that.
Yeah, and the coffee house never closed.
Right.
And it's been open and it will continue to be open. Young Marshall, the junior, is running it now. We'll keep going.
Okay. All right, more happy dollars. Go ahead, Bill.
I have 5 happy dollars because my good friend Bill Stram stepped up and organized the baseball trip.
It's about time.
We'll make it as painless as we can. Go ahead, Stan.
I have 2 happy dollars.
Oh, God.
He's
Stan.
cheap.
I should only make it 1. So it's supposed to be. But I have 2 happy dollars because I caught 2 swans last week
Oh, good.
and 1 left. That's why I said 1.
Oh,
But I'll keep the 2.
why did it leave, Stan?
I beg pardon?
Why would it leave?
Like Stan.
They didn't like the
The surroundings.
same. So that's it. I had
Okay.
2 happy dollars.
For those who don't know, Stan is a beekeeper, so he actually harvests the honey and cans it and sells it over at the,
Not the phone call.
MPC.
yeah.
For an arm and a leg.
These are premium bees.
Just a leg now.
Okay, any more
Stan, how
happy
many houses
dollars?
you have now?
I'm down to 1. Not 2. I'm down to 2.
All right, I'm gonna give 5 happy dollars because I'm happy that Stan gave 2 happy dollars. Okay, any more? Go ahead, Bill.
I have 5 happy dollars because there is an individual in this room that's gonna have a fireside chat. And she's completed all 3 RLI.
Ooh, that must
Wow.
be me.
That's Jackie.
Yeah, do I get
So I think
something?
that's impressive. Matter of fact,
He
you
did.
probably can teach the fireside
Yeah,
chat.
I bet. I bet.
Oh,
Congratulations, Jackie.
thank you. Send money.
And one of the things, one of our key points, I'll say this, when Jim becomes president, he becomes president on July 1. He and I have been talking. And one of our focuses are going to be getting more women join our Rotary Club. So that's going to be stressed. And we're going to work with Jackie and the other ladies here in the club to let's make it happen. Not only join the club, but be part of chairpersons as well as part of the board of directors. So Jackie laid that challenge out and we're going to take it. All right, we have 2 guest speakers with us today, and this is kind of a favorite thing for me and probably Al as well. There was CBES. that's
CBs.
CB.
Yeah, CBs, Citizens for a Better Eastern Shore. They have a lot of things they do here for fundraising, things that Al and I do to participate. We participate in the bike rides, annual bike rides, coming up in October. They may talk about that a little bit. But Donna Boza and Sarah Morgan are with us, and they're going to talk in general, big picture of what's going on with the CBs. Ladies, if you will.
Thank you.
If you'd like to use the mic, I should have a strong voice. Yeah.
I'm half Italian. So. Well, Sarah and I are pretty thrilled to be here, and it's nice that you're such a relaxed group. You know, we're not really into the PowerPoint. We want to have a conversation with you, and a big reason why Sarah is here, not just to make sure I don't forget anything, is because we want to concentrate to a focus on shoreline, and we'll get to that. But so that's our CB's News Journal newsletter that we've been doing since 1988, every single month, and it's fueled on volunteers. So that's a significant part of our mission. But okay, so I'm just going to say briefly about myself, real briefly, I promise. My name is Donna Boza. I came to the shore in 1986. Besides my daughter and my family, I think it's the biggest blessing that God led me to this place. Yeah. Professionally, I've worked. I got to know the shore the best when I worked for the Eastern Shore News. That was back in the early 2000s when that was quite a community newspaper. It won a lot of Virginia Press Awards. It was the standard. And so I was there for 5 years under Bill Sterling, tutelage, and worked with Ted Choppy. And so I learned a lot about the people, a lot of human interest stories, learned a lot about the counties, had to go report on counties. I was also the director, the first director of tourism for the Eastern Shore, dedicated director. I did that for 7 years, also a great learning experience. I had a short gig as the director of ESO, and then I was happy to become executive director for CBs in late 2014. And I like to say that I'm a member, a life member, since it started. So it's not just a paycheck, though I do appreciate that. It's also a passion. So it's a real great honor for me. So does everyone tell them about you?
Yeah, after that, I don't know. I have a really boring life. But now I got here in '89. I had found out about the shore, even though I grew up in Northern Virginia. We didn't really, the only reason I knew about the Eastern Shore was I had a Chincoteague pony that my godfather gave me when I was a youngster. Then later on, I used to surf at Assateague because I wasn't a professional surfer, but I was on a surf team and we surfed up and down the East Coast. After I moved up here in '89, I got a job at Broadwater teaching, and I taught art and graphic art and web design, that sort of stuff, and worked there for 27 years and decided to retire about, 6 years, 4 months. And so I do graphic art and I teach horseback riding all over the country. And I'm about to go on a month-long roll to Portugal. And I'm really excited about that. But luckily, I've been a digital nomad for some time, and Donna will tell you, I can do my job as editor and designer of Shoreline anywhere I have a good internet connection, and that has really enabled me to indulge my passion for travel.
And how long have you been?
So, and I've been involved with CB's briefly in the early '90s. I did Shoreline, and then I think I was thinking about it today. I think it's been about 20 years that I've been doing either the managing editing with Dennis Spady, who used to be a member here. And then when he left CB's, I became the editor of Shoreline. And I really passionately believe in the organization. It's not just a paycheck for me either.
Because it's not much. We're grassroots, very small.
Still Sarah? You still Sarah?
Yeah, do I still, no, you know what I do though? I do stand up paddleboard and my problem is, and I don't know, maybe some of you have gotten to this point too. It's really hard to go from paddling to jumping up. Like the blade would be long, broken, and you know, everything by the time I did the little but stand-up paddleboarding is really fun, even though I still think it looks weird. And I use a bodyboard, and I really like that. As a matter of fact, I'm planning to do a little bit of that in Portugal. There's a really good surf area that I'm going to, so I'm not about that.
Okay, and I didn't mention before, it's, you know, we said little brownie crumbs. Ralph may disagree, but my daughter was born and raised on the shore, so we're really, I'm really tied here. How many people have heard of CDs? I do see some members here. That's good. Citizens for Veterans Insurance. It's okay. You know, tell us you didn't never heard of them. Sometimes if they're not to know anything, they don't know too much. Anyway, so the background of CDs, just briefly, we started in 1988. Developers at that time were coming to the shore and they were starting to lead the shore's future about how it was going to be developed without the citizens really having a say. So a group of people, and I won't embarrass anybody who was one of those groups of people, but I believe you were, Rick. But they came together and they want, you know, this is our community. We want to have a say with our local government about what it's going to look like, you know how it's going to be shaped. At that time, the zoning was very lax. This is a farming community now. It was, I would say, even more so perhaps at that time. So no one expected. It does, according to what had happened lately, you would say it was not a big development push, but in the 80s, people here was like, who would buy farmland? But people were buying waterfront farmland, and it was like wide open. It was like the wild, wild west. So the group of folks got together and decided that they were going to, put the community in the driver's seat of the future. Suzanne Whiskett, the founding president and a personal hero who's unfortunately no longer with us, was one of the leaders in that. And her and the beginning leaders, it was all about diversity. We were generations old families who were members of CVs. Then you had the come here. And I always think that's a great synergy. I mean, that's what happened with Cape Charles, when you get the two forces of people who loved here and treasured the area for generations, and folks who come here and appreciate it. So, and it really basically was, this is our financial and heart investment, the shore. So as citizens, we have the right, and it's also a privilege to shape our future. Our mission is dedicated to promoting balanced growth, enhancing the quality of life of all our citizens, and preserving our cultural and natural resources. And how do we do that? CV's works to accomplish this through education, while promoting open government and citizen engagement. A few other things about CV's. Did you have anything going?
No, I'm watching the surfing up there.
Just getting distracted.
No, I was listening, I promise.
Okay, I think you kind of. We're a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. We don't take sides. I guess in these days it's called nonpartisan. However, some people may say sometimes that, oh, you do take sides, you take the negative, but usually it's because we put the spotlight on the facts of the other side of the story. So, it's just like everything in life, something new will come along and people say, this is gonna give you this, it'll give you jobs, it'll do this and this and this. And yes, it will, or maybe it won't, but a lot of times, they're correct. But what's the trade-offs? So we try to get all the information, all the sides. A case in point, there are pluses and negatives of most things in life. Maximum security prison was going to be, I don't know, did any of you know about that when they were gonna put, Governor Gilmore, Allen was in office then, and it was a big push in the state to build all these prisons. So some of the community leaders here thought that was the best thing ever, and it was going to go in Bayview. And let's be really frank. There was folks who did that because they thought, this is a African-American neighborhood, nobody else will care. But that wasn't the case. Yes, it would have brought jobs. Well, what were the other things? So CV's mission with that was to say, okay, how many of our local workforce can get those jobs? What are the environmental consequences? What is, this is a village, a close-knit Bayview village, and the surrounding area have been intact forever. It was going to be tear them apart. It was I get goosebumps every time I think about it, because it was I was a member at the time of CB's. There was really a coming together of the community for the common good. And if people say, well, that's economic development. Well, I remember as a newspaper reporter talking to Dickie Foster, I'm sure you all know him.
Yeah.
And he said he never would have come here and done Bay Creek had that been located right on the seaside. So again, that's, bringing out the information, making sure that not a couple people in the local government, because they're like, it's a done deal. It's here. We're like, we didn't even know about it. Where's our input? Where's the process? Where's the process? CV is really big. The process. So that's just an example back then. We have to recognize, this is CV's value system, recognize that we live in an environmentally fragile peninsula. So planning sustainability is critical, and listening to what the community wants. You will know with the comprehensive plans, which is the vision for the community. Both counties will say, always number one is we want to retain our rural heritage. And since we're in Northampton, I'll expand a little bit on that. Development in the towns and around the towns, rather than so that we will, they have the services. When you develop the services, it makes financial sense. It also revitalizes the town, and a lot of you, I'm sure, know the progression of what Cape Charles went through. It's 4 years, it's down, and it's coming back. So wanting to skip, the folks wanting to skip what a lot of communities did is like strip mall, put everything on the highway, kill the small towns. So Northampton was successful in doing that. And so sustainable development, as I said, is one of our key values. The community had said it wanted to keep commercial development on the highway manageable, because that's our main thoroughfare, that's our safety. And as I said, not push down the towns and not making competition with towns. So those are our values, and why some of them are our values because, of course, environmentally it's pretty right there in your face. But the other thing is, what does the community want? This is what the community said they wanted. So it may not always be what we want as individuals and CVs, but the community needs to, and so we encourage people to get involved. Our big thing is education. We say inform, engage, and empower. We've hosted, and that's for our citizens. We want to engage our citizens and our businesses, and also, our local officials, which, sometimes could be kind of interesting, but we try to inform everybody about what's going on, and then have them make up the decisions. How do we do that? We host forums from anything from understanding complicated zoning to industrial poultry. What's the good and the bad? For this county, it didn't really make a sense for most people that lived here to have industrial farming with the trade-offs with the groundwater use and the degradation to the environment. Though, you know, there's certainly financial gains to it, but this county as a whole decided not to go that route. Accomack, or sister county, you know, as you know, they have a processing plan that makes sense for them. So that was one thing that we would, right, you have a couple, right. So that's kind of forums that we would do, because of course Tyson's out there, they've got, you know, mega bucks to do a great PR, they got marketing people. So what's the other side? You know, for the people who are on ground zero who live there. So that was at CV's thing. We also do, and we've done for a long time, the candidates forums. And that's usually for the state and the county seats. And we try, it's very civilized, I say. It's not, we've never wanted to, especially in this climate, be a gotcha kind of thing. It would be the questions to the candidates, they would be given ahead of time. You know, everyone would take the turns. There was questions from the audience, and we have been doing this for decades. And now I've actually become maybe one of the only organizations that still does it. Though I think you all do.
We do local.
You did the town ones. Yeah, we don't usually do that, but yeah, because I remember you called. And so, you know, so that's another thing. And then so the audience questions, just to show you how we try to keep it, you know, we want it to be people to be having a more informed vote. It's not, you know, us against you, this guy, you know, attacks a personality. So they have to go like hand in their questions, and there's somebody who's reviewing them, just because we want it to be a, you know, we're a community and we want to leave the room all respecting each other. So our main vehicle that we do for education is Shoreline. We'll get into that. Sarah, I'll give you a lot more information on that. Just a couple other things that CDs does. We do community building events. The Community Unity Day, we've done that for 33 years. We, Suzanne Whiskett, who I mentioned earlier, our founding president, and the Northampton County Public Schools and the NAACP Northampton chapter have partnered to have that breakfast. And it's basically about coming together, breaking bread. The kids are there, the school kids are there. It's all about the youth. You know, of course, it's Martin Luther King Day, and rather than it be a day off, we'll talk about it being a day, you know, on. So respecting his legacy, and also looking at our diverse community and realizing that's our strength, and just coming together, because as much as this is a friendly, I believe a friendly community, one of the reasons why I love living here, you know, break down the side of the road is 2 seconds, you know, you've got 3 people coming to help you. But we are segregated in our like churches, you know, people go to different churches, people go to different things. So this was at least to start out the you know, the new year together. And also Jenny Gaveras, who then you may know, you know, that's it, we give awards to outstanding members of the community. So it's definitely a feel-good event, but I think it steps us in the right, you know, a right positive view, and reminds us, especially with all the political turmoil, we had so many people who never used to come and came, and they said, boy, it's just so nice to be part of this community and feel like, you know, we all have each other's back. We may not agree on everything, but anyways, that's one of the things we've done for quite a while. We started a new thing this year, Eastern Shore Trailblazers, which is a local celebration of National Women's Month. And we've had several honorees, and then we had to do it online because, you know, COVID. So there was a panel discussion, which was really good, and it was a really nice networking. Next year, we really hope we can do it in person, because we also want to make it, again, another place where people get together and you know, and exchange ideas. And even our honorees were like calling each other up and help, you know, saying how they could help each other on different projects. And we have a lot of amazing women here, as I know all of you agree, and a lot of them are unsung heroes behind the scenes. So that's, yeah. And then we also want to hopefully be able to bring that to our schools, maybe have 1 or 2 of our honorees be able to take the show on the road and be role models, and have them, you know, especially for young girls, but for all the students to see, you know, and it's like a lot of what you do, community service, how rewarding it can be to help your community, you know, and so we have, we have big hopes for that. The first year went really well. We also did the shore delivery corps. I think some of you remember, COVID, another wonderful thing about this community, all got together and started delivering food for, folks who were high risk or, weren't able to get out the usual way that they would to get food. And our job was promotional. We got the word out.
May I interject?
Sure, go right ahead.
Your new member, Betty Bivens, she was really instrumental in getting that thing off the ground, and she is just an awesome person, as I know you guys know.
We're very lucky to have her. Yeah, she's a ball of fire. And and like you mentioned before, we have this is our 29th Between Waters bike tour. It goes, varies every year. 4 routes. It started and it still is our major fundraiser. Outside of the donations, we live and breathe on the bike tour. But it was also created, I thought was a great idea back then in '88, or 29 years ago, because that was 88. I can't do the math. I'm sure you're treasurer. But it was created because it was an ecotourism. People didn't know it, you all heard of that now, but ecotourism. That's a bunch of bird watchers, they come, they maybe buy a sandwich off me, and what's that all about? But it was one way to show that protecting the beauty and uniqueness of this place, there can be financial, rewards. It's a good, and that's when I was in tourism, we leveraged it that way as well. So that became, and it's also, we put it in October because the shoulder season's now things are a little bit more active than it used to be, but everything here is just dead. Folks been here for a while and be dead. And so that was another way to impact our businesses and our towns. And we started doing surveys and we found out like last year, we had in the Cape Charles area, it was the financial impact for that weekend was $350,000, and that was very conservative. So going by what our cyclists were telling us that they were spending. So that was another way for us to contribute to our community, as well as, keep ourselves going also. Trying to think so we partnered with lots of different agencies. We've always done that. Like the Nature Conservancy, we've helped, and we participated in everything, from the Eastern Shore Regional Housing Coalition to, helping the village of Oyster come up with their vision plan, things like that. We helped start Waste Watchers, this organization here. We helped start Eastern Shore Land Trust. I'm talking CDs, back in the day, not Sarah or not, but, so that's how we get out. We're not just a confined, we're a very small organization. We have about 2,000 members. That's not counting our complimentary members. And people who think they're members but really aren't, but that's okay. So that really basically covered. Was there anything else that you want to do before we get to shoreline? Was there anything else?
No, you pretty much covered it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, now we're going to get into shoreline, and you'll see copies on your thing. Like I said, since 1988, we've been publishing that. Sarah is the only, she's the part-time staff and does it again, a lot of dedication. She's certainly not getting rich off it, but she's very skilled and we're happy to have her. But all the writers, everybody else is volunteered. So I think it's pretty amazing. When I was talking to Jim, John Rich. Is that
Jim.
Jim Rich. I was right the first time. Okay, no. He's not on, is he?
He never signed on.
Okay, but he was saying that's pretty amazing, that he, that it's been going on that long. Never missed a month, right, Sarah?
Right.
So I'm going to let Sarah tell you a little bit more about it. You're certainly welcome to take copies home with you.
Are there any questions for Donna before I get started on?
Yeah, I have one, but it's not fair. We can wait until the end.
Okay. We might forget.
Either way, yeah, just go ahead.
Well, once again, big fan. Congratulations. Long before we moved here, and we bought property, and I didn't know what this place was. I was a subscriber. Now I've lapsed a few times, but we try to
You were
catch
one of
up.
the viewers who thought you were a member.
But
That's why Sherlock.
I always ask.
Yeah.
But seriously, Donna, thank you for all you do. The concern I have is, and I don't know if it's on CB's radar screen, and it could be just a spike up, but we've had some serious highway accidents up and down 13 now this year.
Right.
Is your editorial board concerned about that at all?
Well, I would say so mostly, well, actually not anymore. It's in
No,
both
there were
counties.
two.
Yeah, it
in
used to be more in
Northampton.
Accomack and
Yeah.
Northampton, but did you feel that? I think it's
Well, you
How
know,
many
the
people are there?
editorial, just to back up just a tiny bit, the Shoreline Editorial Board is in some ways distinct from the Board of Directors of CDs. We're kind of, we dovetail in that several of the editorial members or editorial board members are also members of the Board of Directors, but we're not actually directed by the board. We are directed by concerned citizens, you know, who bring up things like the safety of Route 13. And also just topics that we consider to be either deserving of more coverage than they're getting in the local news, or things that have just passed below the radar altogether. So I like to think of Shoreline, as I said, I've been involved in Shoreline for quite a while, and we have a couple of writers, Mary Miller in particular, who's actually been involved in Cape Charles to some degree, as far as just sort of knowing what's going on in Cape Charles. And she's asked for advice a lot of times because she's very smart about legal and sort of not political ramifications in terms of, you know, Democrats and Republicans, but the sort of workings, the inner workings of government. And she has done, I'd say, well, somebody here said, well, Bill said, anytime you saw something by Mary Miller, you wanted to make sure to read it. She's a wonderful reporter and writer. But what we try to do is to speak to the mission of, but not necessarily the hot button issues of the board of directors, because it's a fairly large, how many people are on it now? 12,
kind of small
14.
right now, 12.
Well, it's been larger in the past, and you just, you know, in order to make that monthly deadline, we have to be a little bit separate from that board. But certainly we cover a lot of environmental issues. For example, in this, which is the April issue, we had an article on the legal ramifications of flooded roads. I know sometimes you have some flooding here in Cape Charles. I live in Oyster, and I can tell you up front and personal that, you know, flooding is a big concern for us. So this particular article presented information about the kinds of considerations that communities have to make, and that the elected officials have to make, and that the state has to make in terms of either repairing, replacing, or abandoning certain roads. That's something that, you know, not necessarily everybody's thought about, but so that's an example of the type of journalism that we provide. That's we're not in competition with the Eastern Shore Post, the Eastern Shore News, Eastern Shore First, or any of the local news channels. Because what we try to do is to approach these issues from different perspectives that the regular press either doesn't want to touch with a 10-foot pole or doesn't have the time or energy or direction to do those things. For example, and also we do sometimes have articles that are kind of hard to read if you're not a scientist or whatever, but we try to make things, we try not to dumb down things, but we try to keep them from being so esoteric that only somebody who's an expert in that field could understand them. But we do things like encourage our elected officials to hold town hall meetings. We, this article by Mary Miller is a good example of the type of thing that we do having to do with government. This talks about the zoning ordinance and certain individuals wanting to kind of push the envelope a little bit on the meanings of certain words in the zoning ordinance in order to be able to do what they want to do. Anyway, we cover last year, for example, the comprehensive plan was getting finished and passed, and for that year and the year before, we made sure that we covered developments in the comprehensive plan. We do some things that are purely kind of fun, like I'm sure most of you would think that, you know, fishing is fun, except it's also frustrating. You know? But there's an article on this issue as well on a new program by them whereby you submit information on the fish that you catch. A lot of people catch them, especially like black drum and some other fish. And so, but what they want to do is to generate a sort of database of fish that are available in the
Yeah, it's a special app, right?
yeah, it's a special app. Also, we cover businesses. This issue has an article on Voyager, which is one of your shops downtown.
That's the open for business column.
Yeah, open for business. We started that because a few years ago, it seemed like everybody was complaining that you couldn't start a business in Northampton County. That, you know, you go up to the county office and they're gonna throw every kind of roadblock in front of you and then tell you they're closed, you know. So, but anyway, we found that there are a lot of places, a lot of businesses that are successful in Northampton. So that's why we started open for business. We do also cover ACMA, but
I'll give you the inside scoop of how they were successful. And
yeah, and so I have a certain number of questions that I send to people about, you know, their challenges, what's surprising about everything. You know, it's not just a straight like article like you would have in the newspaper. Then we have and this is where I want to extend a personal invitation. We print op-eds from citizens who have something on their minds, an issue or a situation or something that they're very interested in that they would like to have published. And again, those things are all considered by the edit board before they're included in an issue. But what we try to do is to have we have a variety of subjects, somewhat, you know, event driven. In other words, we don't have a sort of hard and fast rule about what we're gonna cover in any one month. But we try to keep it diverse and reflective of the CB community and of the community at large. So do you guys have questions?
I'm just gonna throw
Also,
on different-
also, one thing else before I totally try to shut up, is we are always looking for writers. So if you know,
Have
you
an
ever
expertise?
had a
Yeah.
desire to write, just contact me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had a question?
A couple of things. First,
Okay.
on the business front, open for business, do you work with organizations like Cape Charles Main Street? Because we've had dozens of businesses open over the last short period of time. I think. You work with those types of organizations?
Well,
to
yeah,
support
we
the work?
have a couple of parameters. One thing is that the business has to have been open for over 3 years.
Mhm.
It needs to have an actual storefront of some kind. It can't be just a virtual business or in your home. And yeah, we actually have done several businesses in Cape Charles.
So we're always looking for more.
Yeah, we are, actually.
Yes.
The other question is on a different front.
Okay.
I'm curious about the diversity of the individuals who are actively involved in this program to represent the total demographic of the area.
Well, you know what, that is constantly on our minds, and it is true that we really would welcome more diversity, and we do go out of our way to invite people of various demographics as well as other, criteria to be members. And that's one reason we like coming and talking to people, is we really would like for people to know what we do and to feel comfortable
Being part of it.
being
yeah.
a part of
Our
it.
membership is more diverse than our board. Our board right now, our board used to be more, but just getting anybody on the board, as you all know. Yeah. Hi, you have a pulse, you can be the president. I'm teasing. But, yeah, but yes.
But here's the thing. It's just like, okay, I'm on the Northampton County Planning Commission, and when we were getting information for the comprehensive plan, we like getting citizen input. It was super, super hard to get anybody of any stripe to do anything to give us ideas for what we, needed to be doing, because our work is just to be reflective of the wants and needs of the community, right? So if any of you have any ideas for increasing our diversity, that would be awesome. I mean, I love Janie Cabarrus. I work with her, and
Yes, I know
but
her.
she is she lives in Richmond. She's had a few health problems, and she's just one person, and it's really hard to get out and promote more inclusion. So thank you for bringing that up.
And so, yeah, we welcome it. And that's why we partner with a lot of different organizations. That's how we get like our feelers out there.
Yeah, you didn't mention Virginia Organizing and.
Right. Yes, we're working on the broadband. You all, if you live in town, you're all pretty set, but as you probably know, the rest of the shore has a lot of challenges. So that last year became actually, I guess it was last year we started, and teamed up with Virginia Organizing, as they were also looking into the issue to put the cloud on both of our organizations. To try to move the needle, go to the broadband meetings, speak up, get people to speak up at the boards of supervisors meetings, including our leadership, going to A&M and saying, is there anything you can do? So, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So we do a lot through the our partnership thing.
Well, and just recently, the Trailblazers program, we worked a lot with Karen Downing, who is a very dynamic, very intelligent, very, wonderful, community-minded person. And we're certainly looking for more projects of that nature where we can work with our brothers and sisters from, from this county and Accomack in order to, to represent and to educate the community more.
When I was talking to Jim Rich about doing this, and he said, so what are you all want to hear current events that we're touching on? And I said, well, a lot of things that we've done for a long time, but it's even more critical now is, workforce housing and affordable rentals. I know the town of Cape Charles has had both those issues. You've got businesses that are trying to expand and they don't have workers, and the workers don't have a place to live. And I mean, I know it personally. I sold my house. It's out in Cape Charles, and the only way I found a rental was networking. And I was really, really lucky, and I'm up at Silver Beach, and I could probably pay a little bit more than a school teacher could. So it's when Northampton County went and said, that it was by right, meaning anywhere in the county you could have vacation rentals. We were the group that said, are you looking at this? This is going to have, but I think the mindset that, or I know the mindset because a couple of board supervisors told me, is like, they just thought, well, it'll just be in Cape Charles. Nobody's going to be renting out, maybe a few of the creeks, but now, as especially with COVID, people want to go to a nice little farm and be out there by themselves and enjoy the fresh air. So less and less of an inventory. And so it is a really crucial issue. And I know that you all feel it here too. And it's very challenging. So that's another thing that we've been working on. And again, with the zoning and all that, is get people out there, get out there. We all complain after it goes through. It's like, what? Why did they do that? I don't want that. And it was like, well, you got to go to the meetings. If you don't go to the meetings,
tell you, yes,
you can read the shoreline. You can see what we're getting out there. But then when there's public hearings, and stuff, so that's a lot of our,
Well, and just so you guys know, if you didn't, which you probably already do, but let me say, real quick. One of the things that that the Board of Supervisors has told us in the Planning Commission is that workforce housing is like pretty much job one. That and redoing the zoning ordinance, which I mean, those are two really big things. But we're working on that, and those things will be reported in Shoreline. I don't necessarily write about them, but Mary does.
And we tell you when all the meetings are, so you can go. So again, it's really bad.
Community calendar gives you information.
So
anyway, any more questions?
I'm sure it's just an oversight, but you didn't mention the recipe corner.
Oh, yeah. Mary's recipes are wonderful.
They really, I've done a
We
few.
used to just put one in every now and again, and when we didn't have one, we got so much grief about it that we decided we needed to have it as a.
We try to do, what's growing here, that now, and, kind of, tied to the shoreline and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. We also have a little thing that I didn't mention called Recycling Corner, which has some pretty interesting things. A couple of months ago, there was something about recycling your body when you die.
Recycle me.
That was a little bit.
So we'll get her, Sebastian does that. She's also.
Yeah, so anyway, we welcome your suggestions, your input, your complaints. We don't care. I mean, and if we've made a mistake, we put a little correction in, and we really want to be, a living and meaningful part of this community. So.
If you start recycling bodies, make sure they're healthy ones.
I think the way that, you would have to read the article, but I don't think there's any danger to the environmental.
I have a question. I actually have two.
Okay,
One is, I get the sense from reading and from hearing you both that your focus is more highly percentage on Northampton County than Accomack. Is that
No, not
necessarily
really.
true?
I mean, I think in the beginning it was a lot that, no, it's pretty standard, but we're figuring our audience here is Northampton.
So is your board
Yes.
split
Yes.
between the two
Yeah.
counties?
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
will say too, that, most of the writers, except Sue, live in Northampton County, so it is hard to get coverage of the issues that are important to people in Accomack. So if you guys know people on the other side of the border, I always feel like that. When I go past the county line gas station, I'm like, do I need to show my passport? But if you know anybody that might be interested, or if you know of an issue that's coming up in Accomack that you think would be good to cover, please, again, let us know. Take a shoreline with you. There's contact information. And we haven't even talked about the website. The CB's website has a ton of information on it. And we haven't talked about the.
Well, they only gave us 20 minutes.
The bike trail. I know.
Hope's coming. But I want to say to Joe, we're,
The bike trail.
our membership is 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3 is off people off the shore.
Okay.
Okay, and those people used to live here or live here part-time.
Or
So we
who've
have,
gone
but
to the
when I came on, that was
bike-
one of the things I tried to do, because I worked in, regional organizations like Eastern Shore Tourism, was to broaden our base. So,
My other question is, I know that you're working to help get broadband outside the towns, basically.
right.
Okay, and you're working with the Broadband Authority but are you also informing your public about other opportunities like Starlink that they don't need to have broadband
Yes,
for?
Exactly.
We
We've had
yeah.
okay.
And Spectrum. The Spectrum's made a big push into some of
And Nubian, when
Right,
it,
'cause I think-
works for some people, we put, Sue Massel does a lot of that reporting, and so
And she did, she covered
Yeah.
Starlink.
missed that.
everybody, so
Okay.
it's in, what are your opportunities here?
Thank you.
We focus a lot on East Shore Broadband because that's what the counties are focused on, putting their grant monies into, so. We probably spend a little bit more time on that, because, they're gonna, and the one thing about East Shore Broadband, not that there's anything wrong with Spectrum, is that Spectrum runs a business, and they run it how, what the bottom line is, and East Shore Broadband is accountable to the counties, so. But good question. Thank you.
Okay, we don't want you to.
Right, over Sarah Logan.
Yeah.
May have already.
Okay,
Thank you
ladies,
for being quiet.
real quick,
I can tell you, I've did Seagull Sapling Ride, Six Pillars Ride, Beta Bay Ride, Culpeper Ride, Fredericksburg, Pennsylvania Covered Bridges Ride, which is what this is. But the one I enjoy the most is the CB's Ride, and that's the honest to God's truth. I love the 4-town rotation where every year it's a different town. This year it's out of Wasp Creek. So it was always my favorite ride when I wasn't living down here on the shore. I'd come from Northern Virginia down here to do the ride. So great work on that. Now, do you use volunteers to man the food and
We
drink
can
tables?
always use more volunteers, and Mary even, actually, she lives in Bay Creek. This is her second year being the bike tour person. Yes, we love volunteers, and that's one of the biggest things we get on our surveys from the people, is they're the nicest people, they're so helpful, and so, so if you guys wanna, we'd love
Okay.
to join us.
Well,
It's
keep
fun,
that in
it's a lot of
mind.
fun.
Al and I will be busy, but I'll be riding. But others that want to get out, and it's usually a nice day. October's beautiful down here weather-wise, and get out, you want to get outside, meet some of the bikers, look at them as they ride by or whatever.
We have the oyster roast, which is over, at Westcott,
Yeah.
Savage Neck.
It's a popular ride. I think, what is it, 1,000 people that you
Yeah.
take? Yeah, so it's 1,000
With,
people.
yeah, you only
Yeah.
hold it down because of, the road
Right,
situation.
right. So it sells out quickly if you're interested in riding. But volunteers needed to man the tables, and that's a lot of fun too, and they're wonderful people that we need at the tables too. One of the other things I wanted to present each of you with one of our 4-way test rotary pens. When you click on it, there's a little slide window on there, and what it does, it tells you about our rotary
Oh, how cool.
4-way test. And you're gonna hear that in just a minute. But ladies, thank you very much for stopping by. And we'll call on you again when we want to hear some more updates.
Thank
I'm
you for
sure.
your, thank you
you
for
always
your invite.
have.
Okay.
Okay. All right, and yes,
Don has left some applications for membership and cards, so when you're going out, if you'd like one, just see me. It's here.
there you
on the
go.
table.
So we have a couple of guests and actually a couple more here. If you're interested in Rotary, please stop by. And on your way out, and pick up an application, take it home with you, or if you want to fill it out right here, that's fine too. If we could all stand, please, we'll close out the meeting. It's the 4-way test. Of the things we think, do, and say. Number 1.
Is it true?
Number 2.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Number 3.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Number 4.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And we have a number 5 just in our club, and that's Stan the Man.
Will we have fun?
Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Fun is
Right.
club I've ever been to.
I
What's that?
know, it's the most
Oh,
fun.
yeah, we're a fun cut group. Life is too miserable.
Thank you.
Get in
Thank
for a
you.
ride.
Amen.
Be safe on your trip.
Thanks, I hope to.
Eat a lot of grilled sardines.
I will. I'm looking
Travels all
forward
over
to
the
it.
place.
Yeah, that's
I
my.
just tell her, send me a postcard.
Where's my cat? Going to Peniche, which is the surfing mecca. Then I'm going up to
This is your bag.
Oh, thanks.
a
Sure that you got that.
town.
Good to meet you. Same here.
Also in the booth that has a lot of art nouveau, architecture, and I really like.
Rotarian.
So I'll be visiting Porto.
Oh, you have
That's the more, that's the arm twisting I'm talking about.
You'll be official.
I'm gonna be staying on a vineyard up
Wow.
Nice
the
to meet you.
river,
Come back and see us
the
again.
Douro River, where a lot of the port boats are run. And I'm gonna be living sort of in a gloomy